Consumer Price Index, October 2022. Transmission of material in this release is embargoed until 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Thursday, November 10, 2022. The Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, CPI-U, rose 0.4% in October on a seasonally adjusted basis, the same increase as in September, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Over the last 12 months, the All Items Index increased 7.7% before seasonal adjustment. The index for shelter contributed over half of the monthly all items increase, with the indexes for gasoline and food also increasing. The energy index increased 1.8% over the month as the gasoline index and the electricity index rose, but the natural gas index decreased. The food index increased 0.6% over the month, with the food at home index rising 0.4%. The index for all items less food and energy rose 0.3% in October, after rising 0.6% in September. The indexes for shelter, motor vehicle insurance, recreation, new vehicles, and personal care were among those that increased over the month. Indexes which declined in October included the used cars and trucks, medical care, apparel, and airline fares indexes. The All Items Index increased 7.7% for the 12 months ending October. This was the smallest 12-month increase since the period ending January 2022. The All Items Less Food and Energy Index rose 6.3% over the last 12 months. The Energy Index increased 17.6% for the 12 months ending October, and the Food Index increased 10.9% over the last year. All of these increases were smaller than for the period ending September. Chart 1. 1-month percent change in CPI for all urban consumers, CPI-U, seasonally adjusted, October 2021 to October 2022. Chart 2. 12-month percent change in CPI for all urban consumers, CPI-U, not seasonally adjusted, October 2021 to October 2022. Table A. Percent changes in CPI for all urban consumers, CPI-U, U.S. city average. Food. The food index increased 0.6% in October following a 0.8% increase in September. The food at home index rose 0.4% in October, the smallest monthly increase in this index since December 2021. 4 of the 6 major grocery store food group indexes increased over the month. The index for other food at home increased 0.9% in October, after rising 0.5% in September. The index for meats, poultry, fish, and eggs rose 0.6% over the month, while the index for cereals and bakery products increased 0.8% in October. The index for non-alcoholic beverages rose 0.5% in October, after rising 0.6% last month. In contrast, the index for fruits and vegetables fell 0.9% over the month after increasing 1.6% in September. The index for fresh fruits fell 2.4% and the index for fresh vegetables fell 0.5%. The index for dairy and related products also declined in October, falling 0.1%. The food away from home index rose 0.9% in October, as it did in August and September. The index for full-service meals increased 1.1% and the index for limited-service meals increased 0.8% over the month. The food at home index rose 12.4% over the last 12 months. The index for cereals and bakery products increased 15.9% over the year and the index for dairy and related products rose 15.5%. The remaining major grocery store food groups posted increases ranging from 8.0%, meats, poultry, fish, and eggs, to 15.4%, other food at home. The index for food away from home rose 8.6% over the last year. The index for full-service meals rose 9.0% over the last 12 months, and the index for limited-service meals rose 7.1% over the same period. Energy. The energy index increased 1.8% in October after falling in the preceding 3 months. The gasoline index rose 4.0% over the month, also following 3 consecutive declines. Before seasonal adjustment, gasoline prices rose 3.1% in October. The electricity index also increased over the month, rising 0.1%. However, the index for natural gas decreased in October, falling 4.6% after increasing 2.9% in September. The energy index rose 17.6% over the past 12 months. The gasoline index increased 17.5% over the span and the fuel oil index rose 68.5%. The index for electricity rose 14.1% over the last 12 months, and the index for natural gas increased 20.0% over the same period. All items less food and energy. The index for all items less food and energy rose 0.3% in October, following a 0.6% increase in September. The shelter index continued to increase, rising 0.8% in October, the largest monthly increase in that index since August 1990. The rent index rose 0.7% over the month, and the owner's equivalent rent index rose 0.6%. The index for lodging away from home increased 4.9% in October, after declining 1.0% in September. The shelter index was the dominant factor in the monthly increase in the index for all items less food and energy. Other components were a mix of increases and declines. Among the indexes that rose in October was the index for motor vehicle insurance, which rose 1.7% in October after rising 1.6% in September. The index for recreation rose 0.7% over the month, following a smaller 0.1% increase in the previous month. The new vehicles index increased 0.4% in October, and the personal care index rose 0.5%. In contrast, the medical care index fell 0.5% in October after rising 0.8% in September. The index for hospital and related services decreased 0.2% over the month, and the index for prescription drugs declined 0.1%. The index for physician services was unchanged in October. Other indexes which declined over the month include the index for used cars and trucks, which fell 2.4% in October after decreasing 1.1% in September. The apparel index fell 0.7% over the month, after declining 0.3% the previous month. The index for airline fares fell 1.1% in October, following a 0.8% increase in September. The index for household furnishings and operations was unchanged over the month. The index for all items less food and energy rose 6.3% over the past 12 months. The shelter index increased 6.9% over the last year, accounting for over 40% of the total increase in all items less food and energy. Other indexes with notable increases over the last year include medical care, plus 5.0%, household furnishings and operations, plus 8.4%, new vehicles, plus 8.4%, and personal care, plus 6.4%. Not seasonally adjusted CPI measures. The Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, CPI-U, increased 7.7% over the last 12 months to an index level of 298.012, 1982-84 equals 100. For the month, the index increased 0.4% prior to seasonal adjustment. The Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, CPI-U, increased 7.9% over the last 12 months to an index level of 293.003, 1982-84 equals 100. For the month, the index increased 0.4% prior to seasonal adjustment. The Chained Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, CCPI-U, increased 7.5% over the last 12 months. For the month, the index increased 0.4% on a not seasonally adjusted basis. Please note that the indexes for the past 10 to 12 months are subject to revision. The Consumer Price Index for November 2022 is scheduled to be released on Tuesday, December 13, 2022, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern.